back more, which I don't like. All right, there we go. All right, hello MacBook people, YouTube people, how are we doing? So Discord's there, YouTube's there, and TikTok. Oops, let me get TikTok set. TikTok's almost set up. Sorry guys, I forgot to sort of get you guys set up on YouTube before. I like to sort of set it up in advance so you have time. And I forgot again. Is okay, but 1 second here. One moment. I can do that, I guess. All right. All right. Let's go live on TikTok. All right. I think, put on my overhead lights. There we go. All right. Like I said, it's a little confusing for me today. We're going to see how this works. I'm not entirely sure. I've got, like I said, I moved things around a little bit here, so it's going to confuse me. I wanted to give TikTok a little bit of a better view. So it means I moved TikTok and Discord. I switched where they are, which is going to confuse me a little bit. Oops, I'm moving Discord. There we go. So I can see your guys' screen a little bit better. We shall see. This may annoy me a little bit, but we'll see. I haven't decided yet how I feel about this. Yeah. All right. Hello, TikTok. Yeah. That's okay. There we go. That's okay. That's okay. This should work, I guess. Kalispera Dario. Anyway, welcome, guys. Hello. So TikTok, I've kind of got you guys in the middle now. I've got Discord over there and YouTube over there. So we shall see if this annoys me or if this works well. I haven't decided yet which way, but I wanted TikTok to at least get a little bit of the nicer lights behind me. So anyway, welcome, guys. A decent chunk of news today. We'll dive into it in a second. How's everybody doing? Wednesday, September 24th. I'm actually getting a headache a little bit. I don't know why. I had my coffee. I don't know. I made some granola and I'm a little pissed off. I could not find my granola recipe. And I keep them all in the notes on my computer. It didn't come up. And I'm like, shit. Of course. So I borrow another recipe off the internet. It's shitty. I'm pissed because it's too salty. I wasted everything. And of course, now I type in again and I find my granola recipe where it should have been. I'm like, are you kidding me? The recipe is exactly where it should have been in the notes on my computer. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm a little pissed about that, to be honest. But what do you do? I mean, it's fine. It's not fine, but it's fine. Anyway, so that has me a bit pissed off right now because I just had some for dinner and it's too salty. So I'm going to probably throw it out, which really pisses me off too, because it's just a little too salty, Anyway, and of course found the damn recipe. YouTube, it's the same volume it always is. Does everybody else on YouTube think the volume's low? Because it literally is the same. It's actually high. I've got the setting turned up on YouTube today. So YouTube in general, how do the rest of you find the volume? It's fine for everybody else. Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. Granola is oatmeal, some sugar of some kind, could be maple syrup, whatever, nuts, dried fruit that you add at the end. You can add coconut as well, some chia seeds, some oil. It's good, but cinnamon, spices, but you've got to get the proportions right or it doesn't work. And it's, the YouTube videos. Yeah, that's not my fault. Yeah, that happens all the time. My videos have the right sound on TikTok, and then when I put them on YouTube and Instagram, they're not strong enough. Yeah, I think it's because the video actually downloads from TikTok onto my phone, and TikTok does something to it that makes the volume low. It's way too hard. We can see, honestly, it's going to be way too hard for me to fix it. Because what it would require is every single video I would have to transfer to my computer, pull it up in, iMovie, adjust the volume, export it, move it over to my phone, and then upload it for every video. I'm not doing it. Yeah. Yeah, they're compressing it or doing something, but surprisingly, it's screwing up the volume. That's the weird thing. Any case, I don't want to bore everybody, but it's a little weird that it's an IT twink. I know. No, but it's screwing up the volume, which is pissing me off. Well, no, the IT person can't help other than somebody would have to go and edit the video not fun at all. So anyway, nothing I can do about it. I mean, nothing I can do big about it. Hey, hello, Edsel and everybody. So anyway, welcome, guys. John Aravosis here. We're going to talk about the latest news. We talk about the latest news in Washington, where I am, around the world. Big story today is Jimmy Kimmel. This was astounding last night. So Kimmel actually did what I had talked about. Remember I said, like, I don't think he should apologize, but it would be, and I was calling it the Christian thing to do, or maybe the human thing to do. The kind thing to do would be to acknowledge that some legitimate people were hurt, right? And to say, you know, I certainly did not mean to offend. I didn't mean to make light of the killing, Charlie Kirk, but some people took it that way, and I'm certainly sorry about that. And he basically said just that, which I'm glad, because he didn't apologize, but he acknowledged their pain, acknowledged, maybe I shouldn't have told the joke. He didn't say this exactly, but kind of like, maybe I should have waited a little bit longer to tell the joke, right? A couple more days, something like that. So I thought that was great, to be honest. It was it was spot on. I mean, basically, adjusting this, we're going to talk a lot about Kimmel actually right now. Just adjusting my temperature again, because you know me, it's always freezing or melting in my apartment. Now today's freezing. So Jimmy Kimmel, I guess should tell people, I'm assuming everybody knows who he is. Jimmy Kimmel is the American comedian who Donald Trump tried to get fired. And they threatened that they were going to take away the broadcast licenses of Disney and ABC if they didn't basically fire Kimmel. And initially they did. They took a show off the air. Disney and ABC did. A lot of you around the world, in America and abroad, canceled their subscriptions to Disney and ABC and Hulu and others, which was great. And the Disney changed its mind Monday night and said, you know what, Kimmel can come back on Tuesday. Well, we were wondering, like, what's he going to do? Does he have to apologize? What's going on? And at the let me put it this way. I thought maybe he was going to not apologize, but like I said, acknowledge, some of you took it as being this way. I didn't mean it this way, whatever. He did say that briefly and very heartfeltly. But what I did not expect, he spent a half an hour talking about the importance of freedom of speech, with jokes, with barbs, attacking Donald Trump repeatedly, attacking Brendan Carr repeatedly. Brendan Carr is the head of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, the guy who said he was going to destroy Disney and ABC if they didn't fire Kimmel. Kimmel destroyed them. It was remarkable, absolutely remarkable. It was poignant. It was meaning it was substantively meaningful. He talked about how he said, for example, my something. What did he say? My TV show doesn't matter. What was the phrase? See, I don't have the quotes in front of me. I should have pulled the quotes up. He was talking about his TV show, basically saying like, it's not about my TV show. It's about living in a country where TV shows like mine are allowed. Which again, he phrased it better, but that was such a great way of, so my nose is going to itch today. That was such a great way of putting it, right? Where, yeah, the show doesn't matter. What matters is living in a country where shows like mine are allowed, because it's the speech that matters. It's not a matter of the show, right? Like I said, he destroyed Trump. He destroyed Brendan Carr, because we talked about it ourselves. The Republicans kept trying to claim that, this wasn't a violation of freedom of speech. This was simply Disney saying your ratings aren't good enough, right? Your ratings aren't good enough. We're gonna cancel you for that reason. And we're all like, the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission is Trump's guy. He's a Trump activist. He literally went on TV in an interview and said, mafia style, right? We can do this the easy way or the hard way. You can either go after Kimmel yourself, or we're going to go after your broadcast license. It's like, and Kimmel said it. He goes, the guy's like the dumbest guy out there. He literally openly, Trump's guy openly threatened Kimmel on video. Like, I mean, it was astounding. His video on TikTok, he posted the video on YouTube. You can watch it. It had 15 million views as of several hours ago. I think that's the best Kimmel's ever had of any of his videos on YouTube. He made a lot of funny barbs. It was it was glorious. And again, the thing to me that's kind of amazing is the fact that, and actually it shows why this stuff matters. The fact that I think the absolutely best sort of presentation explanation about why freedom of speech matters and why a comedian matters came from a comedian. You know what I mean? Because to some degree you think comedians, whatever. And his explanation was so spot on about what this country is and what this country is about and what our freedoms are about and what Trump was trying to destroy. It was amazing. It was absolutely, I really, you should go find it. I don't want to show clips because I think my suspicion is, YouTube would get TikTok would be okay. YouTube, oh, hello. Thank you, Marsha. I've never seen that before, Marsha. Marsha had some kind of a little hamster, a white hamster outfit. I've never seen that before. Thank you for that. What was I saying about the video? It's on YouTube. Go check it out. It's about half hour. Actually, I didn't finish it. I finished most of it. I was going to finish it. I forgot today. I got busy working and forgot to finish it. I started watching it this morning. I've got it on TikTok. I've got little snippets on TikTok. So you can go to my TikTok and look. There's snippets. I posted it last night at like 1 or 2 in the morning when it happened. But you can also, as I said, you can also go to YouTube and look at the entire thing. It's astounding. Absolutely astounding. Seth Meyers' monologue last night acknowledged nobody was watching his show because everyone was watching Kimmel. I think Colbert did the same thing. Colbert made kind of a joke and said, not sure anybody's here tonight. He said, I think he said, you're all watching ABC or you should be watching ABC. He had a message he goes, people are worried. Thank you for the Caterpillar, Marsha. Thank you, Bowie, as well. He said people were worried that there was some kind of precondition for me coming out here. The show's at 11:30, but his monologue went until midnight. So we started getting clips up around that time. He said, people were worried whether there was any precondition to Disney allowing me to come out. And he goes, they're not requiring anything, but they did require one thing. I was told I have to read this statement. Thank you, Marsha, for the pirate. He goes, I have to read this statement. And he goes, oh, thank you, Kim. That's a very nice gift. Thank you for that one. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jocelyn, as well. He goes, but I have to, he goes, Disney's requiring me to read a statement. He pulls it out of his pocket. He goes, in order to resubscribe to Disney Plus and Hulu, and everybody starts laughing. And then he kept going. It was very funny. I mean, that he was even able to joke about the boycott. And in essence, also acknowledge that the boycott made a difference. It was astounding. Actually, the best part, an hour and a half before the show, and mind you, Republicans for a week have been saying, this is not censorship. Donald Trump had nothing to do with this. This was Jimmy Kimmel. This wasn't Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump had no role. Donald Trump comes out an hour before the show and admits he was totally part of the entire thing. He did it, and he's trying to do it again. Trump comes out and says, this is the second part. The first part, Trump comes out and says, actually, I'm going to find his statement. I'm going to find Trump's statement. Trump comes out and says that ABC promised me they were going to fire him. They lied to me. So you're like, oh, so you were conspiring privately with ABC to get rid of Kimmel. That's exactly what we were alleging. Thank you, Donald, for admitting that. Well, let me hold on. I've got Trump's thing. I've got it on my phone because I posted it. Let me just read it to you because it was glorious. First of all, it was glorious because it was nice to see Trump pissed off. It was also glorious because Trump was admitting guilt, which he just does, and he can't help himself, Hang on. This was last night, so it's like we've had a lot of news since then. Come on. Here it is. Okay, so Trump. This is Trump's tweet last night on his social media company, okay? I can't... Oh, sorry. Hold on. We are going to do glasses, though. Oops. One moment. My tribble. I've got to get my tribble ready. There we go. Oh, wait. Is it this way? No, this way. It's funny when you look on the screen, it's backwards. So it keeps making me think it goes the other way. Here we go. I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. ABC never said publicly the show was canceled. So he's now claiming, right, that they told him privately. The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone and his talent was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny, and who put the network in jeopardy by playing 99% positive Democrat garbage? Meaning 99% of the time he says things positive about Democrats or something. He is yet another arm of the DNC. The DNC is the Democratic Party headquarters. He is yet another arm of the DNC. And to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. No, it's not. I think we're going to test ABC out on this. So he admits right there, he's going to go after ABC again. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. Kind of. This one sounds even more lucrative. A true bunch of losers. Let Jimmy Kimmel rot in his bad ratings. So Trump admitted that he's going to use the power of the government to illegally go after ABC because he doesn't like the comedian. He also said, which is interesting, that he got $16 million from Disney ABC, which he did. Disney and ABC, he got sued by Trump. Trump claimed that he was defamed by George Stephanopoulos. Now, it's an interesting case because Stephanopoulos said that Trump was convicted of rape in the New York case with Jean Carroll. And Trump was convicted of something else. I forget exactly. I don't even want to say it, like some sexual assault, something like that. It wasn't officially rape. But it's because of the unique way New York defines those crimes. It didn't use the R word. I don't want to use the word too much and get TikTok upset here, okay? It's the way New York defines the R crime is different than many other states. What Trump was convicted of, a judge came out and said, he wrote a piece about this, said what Trump was convicted of would be considered rape in many states, and that it's New York doesn't consider it that, but that it is accurate to call it that because in other states it would be that. Well, Trump sued Stephanopoulos saying, officially it wasn't. And a lot of people felt that ABC would have won the case because in America too, you've got, thank you. Thank you. What was that? The thing over my nose. You've got the public figure exception to sort of defamation and free speech stuff, where basically if you're a public figure like Donald Trump is, he has to, if he's going to sue you he's going to sue me for defamation. He has to prove that I was like grossly negligent and reckless in what I did, or I did it on purpose. In other words, I knew I was lying, or it was so obvious that I was lying and I was negligent. Like I didn't even bother checking if I was lying, or people told me it was a lie and I said, I don't care, something like that, right? But it has to be, well, it can be malice is one of them, but I believe one of the other standards is sort of a gross negligence or recklessness, where basically you didn't even care to find out if it was the truth, right? Whereas if you defame somebody who isn't a public figure, it's much easier for them to win the suit. So it's not clear Trump would have won. ABC didn't want to go to court. ABC was also, I think, somewhat afraid of pissing off Trump, like all the corporations. So they gave him $16 million for his library and all this other bullshit. And many people felt it was a bribe. The other company, was it CBS? Who's the other one? CBS, 60 Minutes. They also gave Trump a similar amount of money. Again, a lot of people felt it was a bribe, that basically it was meant to bribe Trump and make him go away. Well, what did Trump do? He turned around and went nuts on Disney anyway. Yeah, CBS. He went nuts he went nuts anyway. They gave him $16 million. He went after them anyway. So a lot of them are kind of wondering, was it really worth paying Trump off? That's what Trump is saying when he says, you paid me $16 million. I'm going to get you again. They shouldn't have given him a dime. And Disney and ABC really opened up the Pandora's box here. Thank you, Marsha, for the flowers. Disney and Paramount CBS. I knew there was another company involved. The parent company is Paramount CBS, because Paramount was looking at selling stuff. I forgot what they were spinning off. They were selling something and they didn't want Trump to stop it. Right? And ABC's got stuff going on too. Thank you for the tiny Diney. Who's that one? Gene. Thank you, Gene. Very sweet of you. So anyway, several companies basically bribed Trump. They bought him off. And guess what? It didn't stop him. It empowered him. He went after law firms. Remember, keep in mind all the stuff Trump did. Beginning of his term, just a couple months ago, he went after law firms that worked with Democrats or that had worked on things like the insurrection, Trump's attempt to violently overthrow the government. He punished any law firm that worked on the insurrection, punished law firms that work with Democrats, because like in America, you're not allowed to work with Democrats, right? He said that, and this is what he did, was he basically killed the clients of the law firms. He got rid of their clients by saying, any client of this law firm will never get a U.S. government contract, he said. You will not get a U.S. government contract if you are a client of that law firm. So all these huge companies said, forget it. We can't work with you. And the law firms caved to Trump. 4 of them did. 2 of them did not and went to court, and they won in court. Really just incredible. I mean, just incredible. In any case, a little bit more here. Yes, so I've read Trump's thing. All right. So Epstein. Anyway, so it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, the Kimmel stuff. Epstein, a bipartisan group of lawmakers, appears to have the support needed to force a House vote. You know what? I'm not even going to read this. It's very confusing. I worked in the United States Senate, and the House stuff confused the hell out of me. Bottom line is, even though Democrats are in the minority, there's something called a discharge petition that you can make legislation come to a vote. I'm going to explain this poorly because I did not work in the House of Representatives, and it's very confusing. But bottom line is, thank you, Russell, for the hamster. Bottom line is, if you get enough votes, Republicans and Democrats, you can force some legislation to happen, to come for a vote. It looks like, because of the special election in Arizona yesterday, Democrats now have the vote. To me, it looks like a bunny, but it's calling it "Go Hamster" on TikTok, believe it or not. Democrats have the vote along with their Republican allies to force the administration to release the Epstein files. Basically, that's what it is. It would force, specifically, thank you, I call those the Elton John glasses. Thank you, Melanie. Specifically, it would force the administration to, the discharge petition would force the House of Representatives to bring the legislation up for a vote. And then it is thought, currently at least, the House vote would pass. And if it passes, it would force the Trump administration, legally require the Trump administration to turn the documents over and make them public in general, which would be pretty amazing. If it happens, let's see. But as of right now, Trump's in some trouble on that front. So the Trump White House did something today. And I talk about this stuff, thank you, Yvonne, because, Trump lost in 2020 in large measure because Americans were sick of him. And I think it's important to talk about the childish, immature things he does in addition to the crimes he does, because it all feeds a larger pattern of this man being unfit for the presidency. The Trump White House today, and Trump himself did, put out a video. I'm going to show you this, showing a series of presidential photos that they put down this walk. They shouldn't have done it. Trump's, he always has to decorate because he is really into decorating and gold and his hair and stuff, whatever. And he puts all these photos up and down this corridor, the famous corridor outside the White House. And I'm going to show you so here you go. This is the corridor. You can see Trump with a Marine or a Navy guy, whoever. And you see, so all those are individual photos of presidents. And he's got every president or every modern president represented except Joe Biden. In Joe Biden's case, Trump did this. And this is, mind you, this is the White House Twitter account. Okay? In Joe Biden's case, you can see Trump and then Biden, then Trump. He put a picture of an auto pen. The auto pen is the device that everybody uses to sign documents when you've got too many documents. For example, I'll show you there. For example, Trump used an auto pen when he signed the 1,500 pardons for the domestic terrorists who tried to overthrow the government on January 6th, including men convicted of seditious conspiracy. Trump used an auto pen in order to get those terrorists off the hook, because he couldn't sign 1,600 documents. It's 1,600. Imagine signing 1,600 documents. It would be too much. So, but Trump has bought into a conspiracy theory about Biden, that Biden was actually like dead or something. I don't know. In the last year of his presidency, and his staff used an auto pen to sign everything, and it wasn't really Biden because he was in the hospital or something crazy stuff. And therefore, and Trump said, I saw Trump say this the other day, this week. Therefore, the pardons that Biden did don't work. They're illegal. So Trump's going to go after all the people Biden pardoned, he claims, because the pardons weren't real, because Biden was sick and the auto pen and this kind of crap. And of course, literally like a couple days before, Trump used the auto pen to give pardons to the domestic terrorists who tried to overthrow the government on January 6th. So it's like, okay, which one is it, right? Doesn't matter with Trump, right? They lie about everything. But that's the thing. It's a series of official portraits in the White House. And he's got all the presidents. He actually had Obama represented, which is a surprise because he hates Obama. He had all the presidents represented except Biden because Biden beat him. And he has to diminish Biden. He made fun of Biden the other day for having cancer. Remember, Biden has some, what I forget what it is. What's the cancer Biden's got? Or what did Biden, what the heck is it? Remind me what Biden's, is it not cancer? Biden's illness we found out about. Remember? What was it? Prostate? It was prostate. Okay. Prostate. But it's pretty advanced, I think, as I recall. And Trump was making fun of it the other day. He was giving a speech a couple days ago. Yeah, stage 4. That's what I thought. He was giving a speech a couple days ago and said something like, yeah, he's not doing so well these days, but I don't feel, actually, I think this might've been at the Charlie Kirk thing. It was within a day of the Charlie Kirk memorial last weekend, within a day, plus or minus. And he said, Biden's not doing so well, meaning his cancer, but I don't really care. I don't feel sorry for him because of all the things he did as president. I mean, you're just like, oh my God. And of course, to them, this is totally normal, right? Totally normal. I mean, just amazing stuff. But again, and I bring this up because I think it matters. He's trying to deflect from Epstein and everything else. He also knows, sadly, that his base likes sophomoric, childish things that a 13-year-old prepubescent boy would like, and therefore he acts like that. Now, he acts like a childish prepubescent boy because that's the way he thinks. That's his mental development, his level of development. But he also knows that that's what his base likes. It kind of reminds me of Elon Musk. Elon Musk, he likes boob jokes, for example, if anybody who follows Elon on Twitter, but Elon just has tons and tons of jokes and comments he makes about women's breasts. And they're jokes, and they're the kind of jokes a 13-year-old boy would make. And they're obnoxious as hell, as you can imagine. That's kind of Trump, even though he doesn't do those jokes. His humor is that level. But again, for the White House to have the president of the United States be so petty that he puts up photos of the presidents, but skips the ones he doesn't like and then jokes about them being sick or something. I mean, that's just sick. It really is. And again, it should be embarrassing to people. Because it is an embarrassment to the U.S. Newsom, kind of a scary little segment by Governor Newsom last night on Colbert's show. Initially, I thought it was Jimmy Kimmel's, but it was Colbert's. Governor Newsom is the Democratic governor of California, who's very good and has been really taking the lead and taking on Trump. And Trump has been very upset because Newsom has been basically attacking Trump with his own style. He's been just going after Trump with mimicking Trump's Twitter style. So he just does the same thing. Thank flower lady. Thank you, darling. That's the Trump wig again, isn't it? I think it is. All right, we'll do our Trump wig again. Oops. One moment here. Up. There we go. We do the Trump wig for the whale diving. Thank you for that. So Newsom has been beating the crap out of Trump by mocking Trump in his own style. Well, he was on Colbert last night, and I should sell witch hats. Oh, Trump was lying about everything. Oh, that is funny. Actually, that is true because Trump likes to brag about, I was right about everything. Trump is lying about everything. Newsom goes on Colbert last night and says the following. Oops.
Elections and how I fear
raising
awareness around how Donald Trump is trying to rig the midterm elections and how I fear that we will not have an election in 2028. I really mean that in the core of my soul, unless we wake up to the code red, what's happening in this country, and we wake up soberly to how serious this moment is. Raising awareness
that
how Donald Trump,
he is the most high-profile person I have seen express that concern. You know, up until recently, that was my Donald Trump wig, Dale. Flower Lady bought the diving whale, and the diving whale on TikTok, for my stream at least, is a wish list gift that gets me to put on the Trump wig. TikTok in the last couple of weeks started a new feature. I think it's called Wishes or Wish List, and creators can pick different gifts that if you give that gift, we do something. So I've got Screaming Goat, Trump wig, icing happy birthday, ask me anything-ish. That gets more expensive, and then tell a UN story, which is the most expensive because I don't want to tell a lot of UN stories. So Flower Lady had bought the thing, but yeah, I have not heard anybody. This is the most senior person yet to express the concern about the election in 2028 and whether we're having one. Up until recently, I poo-pooed people's concerns. Of course, I worried about. Read a bedtime story. That's funny. Of course, I worried about stealing elections and cheating in elections, right? I mean, that's a given, right? Every election. And what Trump did in 2020 with the insurrection should make people very worried about what happens next time. Because, and frankly, I mean, think about it. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Toad. Think about it. Trump incited a mob of his supporters that tried to violently overthrow the government and install him as president and stop Joe Biden from being certified. Well, if he did that in 2020 or 2021 officially, right, January 6th, and got away with it, which he did, why wouldn't he try it again? Also, he's president. He can pardon anybody. He can't pardon himself, maybe. We don't know. He can pardon anybody for any federal crime. Any federal crime, he can pardon them. So, like, hypothetically, he could order them to violently do something. And then the second they're done, pardon them for it. You can't pardon something in advance. You can pardon things retroactively for anything the person's done in their life, including everything. You could literally sign a pardon that says, every single thing you've done in your life that might be a crime, you are pardoned. And that would mean at the federal level, they can't go after you. The state level, they could. But it's as of the moment the pardon occurs, or it says it occurs. So if the pardon says everything you did last week, you're pardoned for last week. If the pardon says everything you did in your life, you're pardoned for your life up until the pardon is signed. Or the pardon could say you're pardoned for the insurrection and everything surrounding it, right? So it's a specific event. It can be any of those things. But, you know, my concern, and I doubt I'm giving him ideas. He knows, Nip. My concern is he learned last time he can get away with it. Why wouldn't he try again? I mean, why wouldn't he try anything he's tried before? And again, this time he's president, he could just pardon them. Very scary stuff. But Newsom, as I said, is the most senior Democrat to express that concern. And I think it's a real concern. It's a real concern. Can a person be pardoned twice? Yeah, you can be pardoned as many times as you want. Very scary stuff. What else? You know, I want to mention this. It's not getting a lot of news, but I'm going to mention it anyway because the Republicans are going crazy about it. Fortunately, the media is not covering it because it's a stupid story. But the Republicans are going nuts, so it's worth talking about. Jim Jordan. Remember Jim Jordan, our favorite Jim Jordan? The guy who was the gym coach, the wrestling coach at Ohio State when all the kids under him were getting sexually abused, and everybody says they went and told him and he did nothing about it. That's Jim Jordan. He's a MAGA guy. He's Trump's MAGA guy. Jordan is not a nice guy. Everything he does is for MAGA and for Trump. He's an activist, basically. Well, Jordan is trying to undercut all what Trump did, violating the First Amendment and violating the Constitution this week by going after Jimmy Kimmel. Jordan's trying to undercut it as part of a larger attack on social media companies. Basically, they're playing the refs in sport. I don't even play sports really, but playing the refs is the idea that you yell at the umpire, you yell at the referee so that he's kind of scared and maybe next time he'll do something for you. Or whether he's scared or whether he thinks, oh boy, I'm getting a lot of shit. Maybe I have been too much this way. I'll go that way next time, right? So Jim Jordan has been taking the lead in playing the refs and going after social media technology companies to say, you leaned towards Democrats, you censored Republicans. Now, let's be clear. The censorship they're talking about is scientific disinformation and political disinformation. Those are the two issues that the Republicans think they got censored on when the social media companies set up procedures for stopping, again, science misinformation, 2020 in particular, right? You know what happened that year, right? So they were banning people who were spreading lies about science. Well, guess who got caught up in that? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. What a surprise, right? The conspiracy theorist. They were also banning people, Trump himself. And why did Trump get banned from social media? Because he violently tried to overthrow the government and he used Twitter to partially do it. And Twitter said, I don't think so. And Facebook got upset too. So let's put this in context, okay? The Republicans are complaining that Trump, for example, got censored online when he tried to violently overthrow the government, okay? And they're complaining that Republicans got banned when they spread vaccine disinformation and COVID disinformation. Okay. I mean, we were facing a pandemic. There was fear was millions of people dying. Stephen, there's no Ukraine news tonight. And like for a year or year and a half now, sorry, Stephen asked if we do Ukraine updates. For a year and a half now, I've been covering Trump as well. Over a year. I'd say a year and a half. I do both. There's no Ukraine news today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Spanish prime minister, but there's no Ukraine news. There isn't news every day on Ukraine, but also, the United States is coming to an end. So we have more important stories than Ukraine. I still talk about Ukraine every night, but it's not going to get the lion's share of the coverage. No, it's just not. With this stuff going on, it's not. So in any case, what the Republicans did, they complained to Google. And by the way, and they're not, there's one point they get right. Biden's White House did pressure Google to basically take the vaccine disinformation off of YouTube. Now, okay, it's sorry, who's in the chat with us? We have a celebrity in the chat. Who's in the chat? But the Biden White House did get involved on one thing. I will say, they did get involved to try to convince Google to drop people from YouTube who were spreading vaccine disinformation. Okay. Now, I guess I would say that is it officially censorship? Maybe, because here's the thing. Well, no, let me take it a couple different angles. As a lawyer, is it officially censorship? Maybe, because the government is weighing in to try to stop speech with a private company. Okay, fair enough. Did the Biden White House threaten to destroy Google and take away all of its licenses if they didn't do it? No. Did Trump's people threaten to destroy Disney and ABC if they didn't can Jimmy Kimmel? Yes. Okay. So that's the first thing, was clearly Trump did a hell of a lot more. Second of all, what was the motivation? Well, Trump's motivation in going after Kimmel was he's mean to me. And I think people who are mean to me shouldn't have jobs anymore. Okay. That was Trump's motivation. Biden's motivation in trying to get YouTube to stop COVID disinformation was to save millions of Americans' lives. That is certainly it is not even more altruistic. It is certainly an altruistic motivation. Okay. Trump's motivation, narcissistic. Biden's altruistic. But when it comes down to it, is the Biden White House calling a private social media company and saying, we think you should be censoring this kind of content that frankly is vaccine disinformation and could kill people? Are they morally right to do it? Yes. Are they ethically right to do it? Probably. Is it the correct thing for the Biden administration to do legally? Probably not. Right? I would say, just my opinion, because, and again, because I'm somebody that cares about these things, you're not going to find the Trump supporters admitting this. You still, even though Biden did it for a good reason, and Biden did it with a light touch, they didn't threaten to shut down Google, right? You still run the risk of government censorship because it's the government calling and the government telling companies you know what you do? You open the door for people like Trump to do it. That's the biggest reason you shouldn't do it. Even if in this case you say, but in this case, it was COVID. In this case, people were dying. In this case, we thought millions of Americans would die. So in this case, it was for a good reason, right? And in this case, it was with a light touch. He didn't threaten to destroy Google like Trump did with Disney and ABC. But it opens that door for the next dictator to come along who finds a comedian who he doesn't like because the comedian offends him, and then the dictator threatens to shut down the TV company that employs the comedian. So hypothetically, that would be a good reason why, even if what Biden did wasn't nearly as bad, you still want to be careful about it because it opens the door. But I think it's also important to get into the details because you will see the trolls nonstop. Oh, Biden did the same thing. No, not really. Not really. Especially when it comes to trying to save millions of lives. Donald Trump isn't trying to save millions of lives. Donald Trump is trying to save his ego because he's trying to get rid of a comedian who offended him. Little bit of a different thing. What else we got here? The ICE facility. So there was a shooting at an ICE facility today in Texas. We don't know a lot about it yet, which means the Trump administration has already concluded it was Democrats because that's what they did. And I'm not being facetious. Literally, they did. They admitted we don't know yet. And they also said it was Democrats that did it. The shooter allegedly, there was a guy across the street from an immigration facility. Okay. He fired at the facility. He fired sort of indiscriminately. He hit 3 of the inmates, or whatever you want to call them, the immigrants, whatever, that were under arrest, killed 2 of them and injured a third. The third guy who's injured is Mexican national. He's in, hospital or whatever. And the other 2 are dead. No ICE agents were harmed. They claim, and I have to say, I don't believe these guys until we see the proof. They claim there was a shell casing that said anti-ICE on it. Maybe. Let me put it this way. I'm agnostic. I'm not going to say it's not true, but I'm agnostic. I don't believe these guys when they say stuff. That doesn't mean they're lying. It means they don't have much credibility, which is different. It's a different allegation, right? They don't have a lot of credibility, the Trump people, but it doesn't mean they're lying. They could be telling the truth. That's all they've got on the guy. The guy's brother says he's not political at all. He doesn't care about politics. He's never cared about politics. It makes no sense he did this. The Trump White House, and he was a registered independent. So what did the Trump White House do? They came out and said it was Democrats. He was a Democrat, and the Democrats did it. It was the Democrats' language attacking ICE all these months. Democrats did it by criticizing ICE, and the White House came out and said Democrats should no longer criticize ICE because they're getting people killed. And I have to say, bravo. That is a masterclass in ending democracy, because it is, and you know what's funny? The far left used to do this, and it used to piss me off. But I mean, the extreme left was very good at shutting you down and not letting you speak. And they would usually do it by going, white male privilege. Look who's talking, Mr. White Male Privilege. So that anything you said, you were being a white guy and you weren't allowed to express your opinion because per se you were wrong. And this was the far left, but they were very good at it, right? Of course, you'd say that, right? This kind of stuff. And what's going on now with the Trump White House is they are using violence, like this ICE thing, like the Charlie Kirk thing, to silence political dissent, to silence legitimate criticism, not just to silence dissent, but to silence legitimate criticism. In this case, ICE, we are no longer I'm going to find the actual quote here from her. I think I wrote it down. Yeah, I did write it down. Hold on a second. Oh, shoot. It was the White House one. The White House had another quote that said we should basically rally around ICE. So my point here is, hang on a second. Let me make sure. My notes. Yes. Just yesterday we found, and the White House literally said, you should not we should rally around ICE. They're good people. They're doing good work. Do not criticize them anymore or you're getting them killed. Okay. So yesterday, when we found out that ICE agents had kidnapped a 5-year-old girl, this was in Dallas, I believe. No, this was the Northeast. Excuse me. This was Massachusetts. They kidnapped a 5-year-old girl with autism. Thank you, Annie, for the tiara, with autism, and basically held her hostage outside her parents' house in order to get her father to come out because they wanted to arrest her father. They grabbed his 5-year-old daughter and wouldn't let her go and told the parents, you can come out. I don't even know what to call this. Is it hostage? What do you call it when you grab someone as leverage? Is it a hostage? I guess it is. I don't know what kidnapping, but when you grab it for that exchange, I forget. There's a word for it. I'm trying to remember. Maybe it's ransom. Ransom. Maybe it is ransom in a sense. It's like ransom. You're holding her for ransom, basically. Horrific. She has autism, and the best part is the Trump White House denied it. It didn't happen. Well, there's video. Telemundo's New England network, Nueva Inglaterra, Telemundo, broadcast video they got of the mother, thank God, took video of the entire thing. And you see the mother saying, let my daughter go. She has autism. Let her go. And the agent says, well, how do we know she's your daughter? First of all, why were you holding this? Here's the thought. She's 5 years old in front of a house. Why are federal agents with guns holding a 5-year-old girl? Right? I mean, I didn't think about this till right now, but what possible reason do they have for detaining a 5-year-old girl? She's a 5-year-old girl playing on the lawn. Is this normal procedure that 5-year-old girls in America are not allowed to play on front lawns? I mean, walking down the middle of the street in downtown, business district would be problematic. A 5-year-old girl playing on a front lawn, you would detain with guys with guns? Why would you do that? Right. So what they did makes no sense unless they were kidnapping her and using her as a hostage to get the father. Because again, they didn't bring her back. Oh, thank you, Annie. That was kind of fun. It did like lights up here too. They didn't bring her back to the parents. They nabbed her in front of the parents' house. Okay. And the mother said, let my daughter go. And they said, no, show us an ID. And the mother goes, come to the door. I'll show you my ID. He says, no, you come here, right here. Really smart, dude. You come here and show me your ID. So here's my question. When we have federal agents who are armed, kidnapping young children, what are we supposed to say, according to the Trump White House? Are we not supposed to criticize that? Are we supposed to say, yay? What are we supposed to say when they kidnap young children and use them as hostages in order to arrest people for immigration? By the way, for immigration violations, okay? And again, I'm no fan of people being here illegally, and we talk about it, piss some people off when I say it, but it's true. But let's put this in the great hierarchy of things. The guy'd been here for 25 years. He seemed to have been an upstanding citizen or non-citizen, whatever he is, resident, for 25 years. You need to kidnap his daughter because he's so dangerous? I I can't even think of a scenario that kidnapping a 5-year-old child is by armed men would be a valid thing to do. Thank you, Carrie. That is a crazy gift. Thank you for that. You know, but this is but I'm saying this in the larger discussion. The Trump people. Thank you for the hamster, Terry. It does look like a bunny too, though. But it is the hand does stuff. Well, next time we're going to see. I put my hand up and it turned into a paw. I didn't see that. That was kind of these gifts do things that we're not aware of. I'm like, no, I want to put my hand up for all the gifts. Thank you for that, for the leaves there. Thank you, Diana. But the danger of what's going on is there. Oh, here we go. Yeah, look, it does. It goes back and forth. That was bizarre. Okay, that was very funny. Sorry, we're playing with gifts on TikTok, but there was kind of a funky gift that went back. And I love like when you discover the gifts do things. I never thought of doing something with my hand. Now with every gift, I'm going to be going like this to see if it does stuff. But not what are we supposed to do? We know what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to defend what's good and what's right. We're supposed to call out evil. Call out people who are doing bad things, call out people who are violating the Constitution, call out people who are breaking the law, call out people who are violating court orders. You know, thank you, Russell. You just keep doing what's right. But the problem is, it is a very authoritarian move to use violence or threats of violence to shut down politics domestically and shut down opposition. Because you accuse the opposition of actually creating violence. And then typically, thank you for the gift there. Who is that? Thank you, Carrie. Typically, and imagine Democrats, because Democrats are famous for this, they get scared. They don't want to be accused. And Republicans are so good at it. They're so good at using Fox News and the other mouthpieces they've got at creating this perception of, oh my God, Democratic violence, right? I mean, they're already doing it. JD Vance got up there a couple weeks ago and said, after Charlie Kirk was killed, the overwhelming majority of political violence is Democrat. Everybody knows that. Actually, the overwhelming majority of political violence, according to the Anti-Defamation League, according to CSIS, according to the Cato Institute, is extreme right, not Republicans, extreme right. It's right-wing extremists, is the overwhelming majority of political violence in America going back 30 years. Absolutely, positively. It is far-right extremists, and particularly scary, if you want to dig into the numbers, the right-wing violence in America, right-wing political violence, is far more deadly than left-wing political violence. That basically, the number of crimes on the left and the number of crimes on the right, the number of dead far outweigh on the right crimes. In other words, the number of people who die per crime, put it that way, far more deaths on the right-wing political acts than the left-wing political acts. But again, this isn't even a partisan thing. You can Google it. You will find this. Department of Justice. Trump's Department of Justice actually had a study up about this that he took down last week because they got caught. Somebody saw it and said, holy crap, we've got a study on our own Department of Justice website that admits that most political violence in America is from the extreme right. Because, and honestly, we all know this, right? Think about it. And by the way, I don't know why Republicans get upset about this, because we're typically talking about neo-Nazis and white supremacists and those kind of people. I don't think Trump has an affinity there, but for regular Republicans, you shouldn't take that personally because they're not you. They're white supremacists and stuff, But if you think about it in this country, we know we've got white supremacists. We know we've got the neo-Nazis. We don't have left-wing violence. Antifa doesn't exist. They did, the far left during the BLM protests, there was the majority of people were very good. There was a far left contingent that did terrorize cities. Remember, they were vandalizing towns and stuff, breaking windows. That shit did not fly in my book. They should have arrested them all for life. But that's about it. There isn't significant ongoing. Again, just look at the data. The data proves it's extreme right in this country. But that doesn't matter if you're going to lie to people, and it doesn't matter if you have the vehicle to lie to people. If you're able to get your lie out there and convince people it's true, it doesn't matter if you're right. Prove it. I don't need to prove it. I don't need to prove it. This is one of those things like saying, 1 + 1 = 2. I expect a a basic level of intelligence and education from my audience. All you guys have to do is Google it. Google Cato, Google CSIS, Google Anti-Defamation League for starters. Actually, don't even that. Go and just Google in general, or go to AI. And I suggest you try Grok, you try ChatGPT, try any of the Perplexity, try any of the AIs and say, political violence in America, how much of it is from the right wing? How much of it is from the left wing? That's all you have to say. And you are going to be very upset when you see the answer. Or Google it. You're going to be very upset when you see the answer. That's how I prove it. I'm going to prove it the way your teacher would prove it and say, as my teachers told me in English class once, she said, what's the highest, her question was always, what's the highest source of knowledge? And we always were like, a dictionary, an encyclopedia? She said, no, the highest source of knowledge is knowing where to look. At the time, we didn't quite understand what she was talking about. Now I understand a little better. And basically, the most important lesson I can give you today is to tell you how you can go yourself and find the answer. Don't believe me. I could read anything to you and I could be lying. Google it for yourself and see what happens when you Google how much political violence in America is from the right and how much political violence is from the left, and see what pops up. And you will be astounded that most of the political violence in America is far right extremists. It sadly is. That's our country. Anyway, there was a statue of Trump with Epstein put on the National Mall yesterday. It was illegally taken down by the Trump administration. They had their permits, and the Trump people took it down and broke it overnight. Under their permit, if they violated any part of the permit, they had to be given 24 hours notice to take it away. The Trump people, and again, what does this sound like? Rather than following the law, because it was these two big statues of Trump and Epstein side by side, it was glorious. Rather than follow the law, which required the Trump administration to contact these people and say, A, yeah, you have a permit, but you violated your permit in some way. B, you violated your permit in this way. C, you have 24 hours to fix it, the violation. And D, if you don't fix it in 24 hours, we will remove the installation if you don't remove it. Well, what the Trump people did, they didn't contact them at all. They came in the middle of the night, and again, classic. Men came in the dark of night and smashed the installation and then took it away. Men in the middle of the night smashed it from Trump's administration, from the Interior Department. Violated the law by smashing it, violated the law by taking it away, violated the law by not even telling the people who put it up there who had a permit they claimed they violated their permit. And they said, what violation? They won't tell them. The Trump people won't tell them what permit they violated. Oh, they can sue. They can sue, but it's not clear what you get suing. I mean, what's the judge going to do? Say an administration official violated the Procedures Act, and even if there was some penalty, Trump's not going to penalize. Trump's going to give him a medal. He's going to give him the Medal of Freedom, But this is what they do. This is what they do. The final thing is Spanish defense minister. So remember how Russia is always screwing with airplanes and with the GPS of planes in Europe, especially the ones that go by Kaliningrad, which is a Russian territory that, frankly, the Russians ought to lose. Well, the Spanish prime minister's plane 2 weeks ago, he was supposed to fly there was a big meeting in Paris, I think it was, of European leaders with Zelensky. And the Spanish prime minister took off, started flying there, and then had to turn around because his plane had problems. And remember when I reported it, we all kind of went, his plane had problems? Like, that's a little suspicious. Well, the Spanish defense minister's plane was hit by GPS disturbance near Russia's Kaliningrad exclave. The A310 aircraft was traveling to Lithuania's airbase, reportedly also carrying relatives of Spanish Air Force personnel deployed as part of NATO's mission. The Russians decided to screw with the navigation on the plane for the Spanish defense minister. As we said the other day, and Trump was asked about it and said, go for it, the next time the Russians invade airspace of NATO countries, they should shoot down the planes and shoot down the drones and shoot down whatever enters the airspace. Trump said they should do it. The Poles are dying to do it. The Turks did it 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the Russians love to invade airspace of NATO countries. They just send the planes in and cross into the airspace. And then you've got to intercept them. And then they usually do very dangerous things with the planes as well. The US has ample examples of the Russians doing incredibly unprofessional, dangerous moves. to flying too close to our planes, all kinds of stuff. Imagine anyway, but the Turks 10 years ago, the Russians do this to the Turks. They kind of invade Turkish airspace. So the Turks shot them down. Putin was pissed. That's all. That's it. Putin was pissed. Didn't do anything about it. Didn't respond militarily. But what Putin did do, since that time, he's never entered Turkish airspace illegally ever again. So, yeah. All right. That's it for the news. That did go long today, but that's because we had a lot of stuff. That's it for the news. We'll hang and chat. So you may have noticed on TikTok, I rearranged my stuff to give you guys the better view because I did think it makes for a prettier broadcast having the lights behind and stuff. So I did that for you all, just so you know. And then you guys are there. Sasha is inside. No, she's on the couch. She's on the couch because she's a little upset today. Yeah. She's on the couch. She's a little upset today, Sasha, because it was drizzling out. It stopped again, but it drizzled. And when it drizzled, she becomes she becomes just frenetic when it drizzles. So, but yeah, I think the lighting looks kind of cool. So I thought it would be prettier doing it this way. I also thought like if people come by, they see the live, it's a little more appealing with pretty lighting and stuff. I think it is. I mean, because the other way was like this, which it's okay. Now, even prettier to have the whole room in the picture, but I can't do that because then I'm on the corner of the other room. So at least this way you get some of the lighting. So that's something at least. Will I be coming to the UK eventually? I haven't been there in a very long time. I like the UK. I've not been there forever. So, anyway. All right, guys, on YouTube, be nice. At least what Billy wrote didn't strike me as anything that outrageous. So be nice, and depending what he writes, but so far, at least I shouldn't say that. The stuff I'm saying, whining about problems in their home countries in the West. Although I'm not quite sure what you mean, Billy. But again, what he's writing isn't necessarily bothering me, to be honest. Not a fan of immigrants, but whatever. Well, okay, you're being a little whiny. But then again, if he's using a foreign language, you never know. Yeah, I don't know. What he's writing doesn't bother me per se. Anyway, as long as he's respectful. Again, because I don't, if people disagree with the immigration thing, I don't care. He's been saying a lot, but from what I looked back, nothing looked like it crossed the line to me, really. It just, at least I scrolled back a decent amount and I was like, I may not agree, but it's not that bad. We have such bad trolls that he does not strike me as a bad troll at this point, is my point. The stuff we get is pretty bad. You know what I mean? So, now, did they say Comey's, they're going to indict him? Is there actually a report that they're going to indict Comey? God, they're so freaking horrible. Oops, hang on. Was there an actual report or no? Shit, really? This is fucking criminal. Absolutely freaking criminal. The Justice Department is seeking to indict former FBI Director James Comey, Fox News has learned. DOJ officials are close to deciding whether to prosecute. By the way, this is how bad Fox News is. Those two sentences contradict each other. The first sentence says the Justice Department is seeking to indict former FBI Director Comey. The second sentence says, the quote, DOJ officials are close to deciding whether to prosecute. Okay. That's not quite seeking to indict necessarily. There's a grand jury underway looking at the matter. A decision could come any day. Maybe the grand jury's. This is Donald Trump going after a political enemy. He's trying to throw his political enemies in jail. And by the way, the reason they're doing this is because Trump ordered his attorney general last weekend to do this. Remember the tweet that Trump sent out ordering the Department of Justice to illegally indict his political enemies? He wanted James Comey, he wanted Adam Schiff, a U.S. senator, and he wanted Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, all of his political enemies, and he ordered her to indict them. And now, 4 days later, she is? This is unbelievable. James Comey is because Comey investigated Trump Russia. And Comey had concerns about Trump and Russia. That's why. And Comey, by the way, is the reason Donald Trump became president in 2016. He's literally the reason Trump got to win the presidency. And Trump's pissed at him. This is so freaking dangerous. And again, thank you, Julie, they would like nothing more than for us to, don't criticize it. It's not safe to criticize it. Don't say, sure, they're doing things that are un-American and completely unacceptable and haven't been done since Richard Nixon's time. And even Richard Nixon didn't do anything like this. You'd have to go back to the McCarthy era during the communist witch hunts in America to find anything even comparable to this. Sure, you've got to go back to one of the worst, darkest moments in American history, but don't call it one of the worst, darkest moments in American history, because that would be mean. And you're not supposed to be mean, because if you're mean, they might not win. This is incredibly dangerous. It is, again, it is incredibly illegal. It is incredibly un-American. It is what Vladimir Putin does. It is something that no Democratic president has ever done. No Republican president other than Nixon, and even Nixon didn't do this. No Republican or Democrat has done this before. It is Donald Trump. It is corrupt. It is un-American. It is akin to what you see in the Soviet Union and communist China, in Putin's Russia. It is not what Americans do. It is completely illegal, but they're doing it anyway, because who's going to hold Trump responsible for breaking the law? Who's going to go after him? Trump's Justice Department is going to hold Trump legally accountable for illegally ordering the Justice Department to jail his political enemies? I mean, really? What, are they going to indict Jimmy Kimmel now? I mean, absolutely unbelievable what this guy, this is why I'm saying he's not going to stop at this. He's going, I think anything you worry about him doing, he may do. This is why Gavin Newsom said that Gavin Newsom is fearful that we will not have a presidential election in 4 years. The governor of California said that last night. I mean, now the judge, hopefully the judge throws the case out. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, you know, now part of what they're doing is just punishment by harassment. You got to get a lawyer, and Trump knows, because Trump went through this. I mean, you get a lawyer when you're indicted. You've got to go through a lot of court stuff. It costs you a lot of money. It costs you a lot of, psychic energy or psychological, whatever. And he's trying to harass anybody he disagrees with politically, using the government to do it. It is absolutely criminal. It is absolutely criminal behavior. And again, no Democrat has ever done this before. No Republican has ever done this before. This is unprecedented in American history. The level of illegality, the level of again, it is dictatorial, it is authoritarian, it is fascist. We don't even have words. We don't really have words in America to describe these kind of actions, because it almost sounds silly to call it fascist, because you think of Mussolini or something. We don't have the history of doing this kind of thing, so that we don't even have the language to describe it, because it seems like, oh, come on. An American, because good Americans wouldn't do that. But these are not good Americans. Absolutely shocking. That's what I mean. You'd have to go back to Hoover. Hoover was FBI director, but yeah, you have to go to Hoover too. Yeah, but Hoover, same era as the communist thing. I mean, Hoover was 20 years, but that gets you back. Hoover, 60 years? When did Hoover finally leave? Was it early 60s? When did Hoover finally leave? Around then, 60 years ago, 65. Very scary stuff. He wasn't there till the 70s. No way. He was not there till the 70s. There's no way. Get out of here. Seriously? No, J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Alex says the early 30s, and I'm going early 30s. I'm thinking J. Edgar Hoover, not Herbert Hoover. We're talking about the FBI director. Sorry, not the president. Yeah. I'm going early 30s. No, the FBI director. We talked about Epstein a lot today. I mean, but guys, don't get fooled by this. This isn't simply, he's deflecting from Epstein. That's going to be your final words. Like literally your final words are going to be, he's deflecting from Epstein. And then the curtain's going to come down and the show is going to be over in this country, because because too many people were like, oh, ignore the man behind the curtain who's doing all the crimes, who's ending freedom and democracy in our country because he's trying to distract from Epstein. You really can't ignore the crimes he's doing now. This is far too dangerous what he's doing. You can keep reminding people of Epstein, but this is far worse than Epstein. This is far worse than Epstein, what he's doing now, and far more dangerous. But keep going after Epstein, keep putting the stuff out there. Absolutely. No, the Epstein stuff, you know what? The Epstein stuff matters because it hurts him. It causes him political problems. It resonates with the right. Anything you can do legally to stop this man is acceptable. Again, legally. You know, and if the Epstein story is true, which it is, and it hurts him with his own voters, which it does, then get that story out there. Yes, get that story out there. You know, and morally, there's also a moral element overall of just accountability and all of that. You know, Amy is kind of saying, yeah, Amy just said that. Yeah, exactly. So there's, I mean, it's just a simple, but I'm thinking when you talk politically, there's only so many, there's a lot of moral issues or issues that are important for us to talk about. But in politics, you can only talk about so many issues. That's my point. But man. Hoover died in 1964. Okay. I was going to say, I figured he wasn't 70s. That's what I figured. He was like 40s to early 60s, maybe something like that would be my guess. I can ask Alexa. She's just not good at this stuff. Alexa, what years were J. Edgar Hoover in office?
I don't know that one.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't. Hey, Google, what years was J. Edgar Hoover in office?
According to FBI, J. Edgar Hoover led the FBI for nearly a half century, from 1924 until 1972.
Oh, it was that long? Jesus Christ. I didn't know it was that long. It was 50 years? Get out of here. He's saying, you think it's including Herbert? There's no way he was. You think it's including both? Michelle, I gave up on worrying about the devices listening to me a long time ago. I mean, sure, but what do you do? How long was J. Edgar Hoover FBI director? From when to when? From when to when? From when to when? Okay, this is what's weird with ChatGPT. Just translated my question to how long was J. Hoover FBI director from when to when? The Vietnamese name or whatever? Nguyen. I said from when to when, and rather than when, it said, oh, he must be using the, I think it's Vietnamese name, Win. Like, seriously? That's a little, you know, J. Edgar Hoover, 35 to 72. That's still pretty freaking long. That's pretty damn long. 37 years. Jesus Christ. I really didn't realize he was FBI director that long. I knew it was long, but I thought it was like 20 years. 37 years. Dear God. Wow. 35 to 72. And he was a horrible man too, like to be in office that long. Jesus Christ. Wow. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah. Wow. Anyway. Yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, Dave mentioned, by the way, the shooter in Texas with the ICE facility, that he engraved the round with like anti-ICE language. That's a little weird. 2 guys in a row did that. I mean, it's a little weird. It's either copycat-ish or it's a lie. It's one or the other. Or, honestly, it is possible they found some shells in the area that had anti-ICE language on them. That doesn't mean they were the shells that were used. Somebody else didn't like ICE and whatever, right? It's possible. You know. Anyway. Google doesn't understand your husband. Google has a problem with my accent because it's California and I'm not. I told you Google always gets confused when I turn devices on and off. And I forget which one. We talked about this before. One of them, it just doesn't understand because I think you on and off. Yes, because California and maybe some parts of the country, you say the words on and off the same way. You say on and off. I believe, so that I'll say one of them to Google and it thinks I mean the other one. And in Midwest English, they're two different vowels, on, off, literally aw. Clearly two different things, like cot and awful, right? But for California, I think it's on and off. And Google always gets confused. Always. Anyway. What else would actually it's already 7:18. We're gonna go in a second, I think, here, guys. Well, Google is my TV. I've got Google is the default on my television. So that was Google you were listening to there. Oops, I'm gonna put my air on again, getting warm. Anyway, but yes, I'm very upset. We will end the show by saying I'm very upset because I'm going to throw out my granola, I think, because I couldn't. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Russell. My granola recipe did not pop up when I searched for it earlier today. It did not show up on my phone, and I thought it's deleted. I can't believe this. And then I made the granola, another recipe online, and it's not great. I hate recipes that get great reviews, and it's too salty. It's not sweet enough. And I just wasted, 6 cups of oats, which I'm a little pissed about, and 2 cups of nuts, which frankly I'm even more pissed about because nuts are not cheap, but I'm a little pissed off. So yeah. And then of course, one more time, I decided to look and I found my damn recipe again on my phone and my computer. It should have just come up. It's in the database, whatever. Grr. Well, sometimes when you search for stuff in your notes and it comes up as nothing and you're like, what do you mean nothing? There's stuff there. No, it's a little too salty too. It's okay, but it's a little too salty. I'm really not like it. I'm not eating 6 cups of it. I just had it for dinner and I did not like it. I did not like it. I'm with you. I don't like wasting stuff, but I did not enjoy this tonight. And normally this granola, I'll eat this granola as a snack normally. It just, emails do not come up on your phone. Emails come up if you look for them on your computer on Gmail. But if you look on your phone on Gmail, forget it. That, for me at least, they do not come up. But then I go to my computer and it's like boom, 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 boom. Everything comes up. Well, yes, Misha. I'm sorry, Misha's comment's kind of funny. All devices listen to you. Creepy, yes, but part of normal life nowadays. When I lived in Russia, very common for government to listen in on me being former military. Yes, that's because you were in Russia. At least in America, this stuff is not normal. And particularly like the Trump stuff, although you probably already hopefully know that well enough, the Trump stuff is so, we make the Russia comparisons. We always have make Russia comparisons, but it's so, devices, even though it's a possibility, they should not be listening in on you. God, when I was in the Soviet Union in Moscow in 84 actually, and we were warned that the hotel rooms would have listening devices in, and it was exactly what they told us. There was a little box in the corner on the table in the hotel room, hotel, and the box had a knob, and the box would have like music and news in Russian, though, music and news or something, and you could turn the knob, and by turning the knob, you could make it louder or softer, but you couldn't turn it off. And this was like the perfect. What's the word I'm looking for? The literary term, like the example of Soviet Union, right? You couldn't turn it off. It was always on. It could be on loud or it could be on soft. We had to put stuff on top of the damn thing so we could sleep at night. We tried. I don't think we pulled it out of the wall because we were a little afraid of getting arrested. And it was hardwired into the wall. It wasn't like it was plugged into the wall. You could just unplug it because it was streaming. It was streaming content or something. Very scary shit. Yeah. Very scary stuff. So, anyway, but yeah, by Soviet Union, lots of stories about the Soviet Union. Fascinating place. A lot of nice people, fucked up country, severely screwed up dictatorship. A lot of nice people we met though. I will say that. So anyway, more on that another day. We'll tell more of my Soviet stories. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Also, my voice is being a little off today. I can tell for the first time in months, actually, which is good, but bad that it's doing it again. It's being a little strained again today. All right, I am going to sign off. I'm catching up on Wednesday, the TV show, The Addams Family, because I didn't watch the new year yet, and I've been watching the old year again. It's very good. It's very good. I mean, it's a little over the top. It's a little over the top, but like murder case or something. You're like, come on, it's kind of a comedy, but it's still very good so far. Let's see how season 2 is. Hopefully it's good. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Thank you, Sandra. Was that an attempt at Greek there? It looked like it was. But anyway, Dance Rasputin, is that her dance? I did actually just watch the dance episode last night. Yes, they were close enough. Although it was phonetically good. Kalinikta. I was like, that looks like Kalinikta. That's cute. Why don't I stick to Ukraine? Because life is bigger than Ukraine and my country's falling apart and we're losing our democracy. And if we lose our democracy, you can kiss a good portion of the world goodbye as well. So Ukraine matters and we do talk about it, but there's other stories that are even bigger right now. Yeah, I do not find somebody was saying I should put the granola recipe in AI. I've done that before. And I have found AI to not be great for my recipes. I've asked it stuff. I'm like, how much of this would you use? It kind of gets it wrong. I've been impressed with its courage. It's always very sure of itself. Oh, you've got this, you need to add this and this amount. And it's always very sure, but it doesn't really get it right. But in any case, no, it's this granola, I think, is going to the birds. If I had a backyard, it would go for I'm in DC. It's not going in the backyard. The rats will eat it. No, I'm going to have to throw it out. I think it's just because even now I'm still tasting a little salt. It's too salty. I am not going to have that. And I'm not going to add more to it. Any case, I'm very upset about my granola because my recipe was perfected over the years and it's a great recipe. And this son of a bitch just ruined. And I made 50% more recipe too, which I'm a little pissed off too. Yeah, I should try Epicurious more. What I should have done too, I was stupid. I should not have made a larger recipe of this. I should have made a smaller recipe. That was stupid. Very stupid. I put in as much salt as the recipe asked. It just was too much salt. I mean, it's 6 cup. I'm not sharing this recipe. No, I'll share my recipe. Yeah. No, my recipe is great. It's just sweet enough. The fruit pushes it over the top, which makes it like the fruit makes it just sweet enough, which is perfect. Like my granola, I eat as a snack. It's so good. It's so good. I don't want to fuck up my granola. So I don't want to swear. I don't want to screw up my granola with this stuff. I really don't. Yeah. Lesson learned. No, but it always annoys me. But what pisses me off is going online and finding recipes because I read the reviews and stuff. And, I didn't read, it had a lot of reviews and good points and I believed it and I shouldn't have believed it. It's like I said, it's too salty. It's not sweet enough. I know you can fix the sweetness, but I'm not going to screw this up. Anyway, my recipe is great. So, all right. Desalinate my granola. I know it's like I said, it's very close to getting thrown out. So I probably am. Anyway. All right, guys, have a good night. I'm going to sign off here. Actually, I do like the new setup. I think works. I like having the prettier lighting I much prefer having the prettier lighting for TikTok. I think it looks nice. Because I know when I jump around and I see people doing lives and it's a much like the lights and everything. And I'm always like, oh, I like that. Makes me happier. Well, and the funny part is, right, see you JTA. It's not a new setup. It's a new setup in the sense of a new angle. This is what it's always looked like behind me. You guys just never get to see it on TikTok because the angle was towards my window. And I moved stuff around so that this angle is better because I've got Discord over there, but Discord's using the camera over here. So it ends up working out. Anyway. All right. And my hand's getting there. We're doing pretty good. I'm still doing exercises. Went last night. I mean, I've got it. Although today it's being tight. You can see the middle finger. It's being, for some reason, it's being like very tight. I've got to stretch it tonight. So I will. All right. Have a good night, guys. Thank you for everything. YouTubers, have a good night. All right. And you guys too.